There is a side of human nature that most people refuse to acknowledge, the side that calculates, manipulates, and observes in silence. While you are playing a game of checkers, some people are playing a game of psychological chess with your emotions. Today, we are uncovering 20 uncomfortable truths about dark psychology and human manipulation. This isn't just about understanding others. It's about making sure you are never their victim. If you're ready to see the world as it truly is, let's dive into the shadows. Manipulation often wears the mask of extreme kindness, using love bombing to overwhelm your senses and cloud your judgment. By showering you with excessive praise and attention early on, a manipulator creates a psychological debt that you feel obligated to repay. Once they have gained your trust, they slowly withdraw that affection, leaving you starving for their approval. True protection begins when you realize that genuine respect is built over time, not delivered in a sudden tidal wave. The scarcity principle is a powerful tool used to make you act impulsively by creating a false sense of urgency or limited supply. Whether in marketing or personal relationships, when someone makes you feel like you are about to lose an opportunity, your rational brain shuts down. Manipulators use this to force a yes before you have time to consider the no. Always remember, if someone is rushing you to make a life-changing decision, they are usually hiding something you aren't supposed to see. Gaslighting is a slow-burning form of psychological warfare designed to make you doubt your own reality and sanity. It starts with small lies and trivial contradictions until you no longer trust your own memory or perceptions. By making you feel confused and unstable, the manipulator becomes your only source of truth, granting them total control over your life. Never ignore your intuition when it tells you that something isn't right, even if someone is trying to convince you otherwise. Silence is the loudest weapon in a manipulator's arsenal, often used as the silent treatment to punish you for noncompliance. By withdrawing communication, they force you into a state of anxiety where you will eventually apologize just to end the tension. This creates a power dynamic where you are constantly walking on eggshells to avoid their cold shoulder. The only way to win this game is to show them that their silence has no power over your internal peace. The Ben Franklin effect suggests that we tend to like people more after we do a favor for them, rather than when they do one for us. Manipulators often start by asking you for small, insignificant favors to build a subconscious bond of commitment in your mind. Once you have invested your effort into them, your brain justifies the action by convincing you that you must like them. Be wary of those who constantly ask for small helps but are never there when the weight of the world is on your shoulders. Mirroring is a subconscious technique where a person reflects your body language, speech patterns, and interests to build instant, artificial rapport. While it can be a tool for empathy in dark psychology, it is used to create a false sense of soulmate connection. By becoming a reflection of you, the manipulator makes you feel understood and safe, bypassing your natural defenses. True connection is found in shared values, not in someone who simply parrots your every move and thought. People who are constantly playing the victim are often the most dangerous manipulators, as they use your empathy as a weapon against you. By framing every situation as a tragedy where they are the misunderstood hero, they deflect all accountability for their own toxic actions. They want you to feel guilty for holding them responsible, effectively trapping you in a cycle of perpetual rescuing. Compassion without boundaries is not a virtue. It is a recipe for your own emotional destruction. The door-in-the-face technique involves making an outrageously large request that you are certain to refuse, only to follow up with a smaller, reasonable request. Because you feel a subconscious pressure to compromise after saying no, you are much more likely to agree to the second demand. This smaller request was their actual goal all along, and they used your own guilt to steer you toward it. Always step back and evaluate a request on its own merits, regardless of what came before it. Projective identification is a tactic where a person projects their own negative traits onto you so intensely that you actually begin to feel and act like those traits. If a manipulator is constantly accusing you of being angry or unstable, they are often trying to provoke that exact reaction from you. Once you snap, they point to your behavior as proof that they were right all along. Do not let someone else's internal chaos become your external reality. Stay centered in your own truth. The halo effect causes us to believe that because someone has one positive trait, such as being physically attractive or charismatic, they must be virtuous in all other areas. Manipulators lean heavily on their charm to mask a lack of character, knowing that most people judge a book by its cover. Charisma is often a polished tool used to hide a hollow core, and the most dangerous wolves are always dressed in the finest sheep's clothing. Judge a person by their consistency over years, not their performance over hours. The foot-in-the-door technique is the inverse of the large request strategy, where a manipulator starts with an incredibly small and innocent demand. By getting you to agree to a minor task, they establish a psychological pattern of compliance in your brain. Once you have said yes once, you are statistically far more likely to agree to much larger, more intrusive requests later on. Never underestimate a small compromise. It is often the first step toward a total loss of your personal boundaries. Triangulation is a toxic tactic where a person brings a third party into a conflict to create jealousy, insecurity, or a sense of competition. By making you feel like you have to win their affection or prove your worth against someone else, the manipulator stays in total control of the narrative. This keeps you focused on the other person rather than the manipulator's own bad behavior. If someone constantly compares you to others or mentions how much better someone else is, they are trying to destabilize your self-esteem. The pity play is a favorite tool of the covert narcissist, used to flip the script whenever they are caught in a lie or a mistake. Instead of apologizing, they will bring up a past trauma or a current illness to make you feel like the bully for even bringing up the issue. By weaponizing their vulnerability, they force you into the role of the caretaker, effectively silencing your valid concerns. Remember, someone who is truly hurting will seek healing, but a manipulator will seek an audience. Intermittent reinforcement is the most addictive form of psychological manipulation, where rewards and affection are given randomly and unpredictably. This creates a gambler's high in your brain, keeping you hooked on the relationship in hopes of that next hit of kindness. Because you never know when the good version of them will return, you become willing to endure immense amounts of abuse in the meantime. It is the same mechanism that keeps people at a slot machine. Don't let your heart become a game of chance. Cognitive reframing is used by manipulators to change your perception of an event so that their bad behavior seems like a benefit to you. If they control your finances, they call it protecting your future. If they isolate you from friends, they call it prioritizing our bond. By slowly changing the labels of their actions, they rewrite the dictionary of your life until you no longer recognize abuse for what it is. Always look at the raw action, not the flowery explanation they attach to it. The invisible audience tactic involves a manipulator implying that everyone else agrees with them and thinks you are wrong. They use phrases like, "Everyone is saying you're acting crazy," or "Your friends told me they're worried about you," to make you feel isolated and outnumbered. In most cases, these other people haven't said anything at all. This is a deliberate attempt to break your confidence by making you feel like the entire world has turned against you. Trust your eyes, not their rumors. Emotional anchoring is a technique where a manipulator associates a specific sound, touch, or word with a powerful negative emotion in your mind. Over time, they can trigger your anxiety or guilt instantly just by using that specific anchor whenever they want to shut you down. This is a form of Pavlovian conditioning used to keep you submissive without a full-blown argument. If you find yourself feeling sudden, unexplained dread during a conversation, look for the subtle triggers they are using against you. Fear relief procedure is a manipulation cycle where a person intentionally creates a state of high stress or fear in you, only to save you from it a moment later. When the fear is removed, your brain experiences a massive rush of relief that makes you extremely vulnerable to any request they make next. They become both the fire and the fireman, causing the problem so they can be the hero who solves it. This creates a deep, misplaced sense of loyalty toward the very person who is hurting you. The false choice tactic involves giving you two options that both lead to the same outcome the manipulator wants, creating an illusion of autonomy. They might ask, "Do you want to clean the house now or after dinner?" making you forget that you never agreed to do it in the first place. By limiting your perspective to only their provided choices, they guide your behavior while letting you feel like you are in control. Always look for the third option, the one they are trying to keep off the table. Isolation is the ultimate goal of any master manipulator, as it removes the sanity checks provided by your support system. They will slowly poison your mind against your family and friends until you feel that they are the only person who truly understands or loves you. Once you are isolated, you lose the external perspective needed to identify the manipulation. Your independence is your greatest shield. Never allow someone to become your entire world, because a world with only two people is a prison.